So, Ralph breaks the internet. But does he have the ability to break the curse that comes with being in a Disney sequel?
Well, in this episode, we're going to find out exactly what it means to physically break the internet.
Bitch.
Dude. Too harsh, too far.
Hello Internet, friends, family, my fellow cinephiles. Welcome to yet another episode of Straight Razor in the Theater, where we go to see a movie in the theater, and then we talk about seeing the movie in the theater. We saw Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2. We saw it for my birthday. It was an interesting experience, to say the least. What was your general consensus of the film?
Honestly, at first, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about the idea of it being internet-based rather than gaming-based.
Right, because that was the biggest appeal for the first movie.
Yeah, that was the selling point. That was not only the selling point, but the marketing point. That was the everything.
Oh,
that was the point.
Right, yeah, no, for sure.
But with this one, I was just like, with the internet, that's going to be lost. What are we going to do? Just have to deal with a bunch of memes?
Right.
Come on, there's already like 6 to 12 different movies that came out in the past year that deals with that.
Right.
I don't see the point. I was wrong!
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so the basic premise of the film is 6 years after the first movie takes place, Vanellope and Ralph have this really strong bond. They're hanging out all the time. Ralph is in this state where he doesn't want to lose that friendship. They find themselves in the internet, and a certain series of events unfold, and it brings out Ralph's innermost insecurities, and inadvertently actually breaks the internet. So before we continue discussing this movie, I just want to go ahead and point out, spoiler alert for Ralph Breaks the Internet. If you have any interest in seeing this movie and want to actually see it, unspoiled, click off this video, go see it, come back. I'm just going to go ahead right off and say that I was kind of worried right off the bat. One, like you said, because it was internet-based.
Mm-hmm.
One, I kind of thought it was going to turn... So I'm just going to preface this by saying that I never saw the Emoji Movie. But I'm literally everything that I say, opinion-wise, is kind of from other sources, reviews, people off the internet that I've heard. I just want to say right now that I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on the Emoji Movie, but I'm going to put my 2 cents in. So the biggest complaint that I hear about the Emoji Movie is that it seems like a hollow giant ad for internet and apps and just the use of apps, and just basically there's no semblance of plot, that the reason that these apps exist within the movie, but they're just there. And I kind of thought that was what was going to be the case with Ralph Breaks the Internet. I kind of thought they were going to go to the internet and there were going to be all these fucking references, and none of them were going to go anywhere, and there wasn't going to be any real reason for them to be there. It was just going to be, oh, hey, look, Facebook's there. Oh, hey, there's Twitter. Oh, hey, and I did find myself doing that a lot. Like, the YouTube, they pass by a building that says YouTube, and I'm like, oh, that's YouTube, and Facebook, and, the birds flew by, and I was like, oh, look at all them tweets. So, like, there was some semblance of that. But it didn't feel forced. It kind of felt natural.
Now, there was a tongue-in-cheek joke with the whole Twitter visualization that I really liked and I noticed.
Right.
And it's a blink and you'll miss a thing. When the flock of tweets, as I'll just call them, flies by...
So that's exactly what it is. It's little birds that tweet, and then
they all land in the tree, and they all start releasing the tweet. Every single one of the tweets, if you look at the message, different person, same message. Not any change in the message at all.
Oh, see, I didn't notice that. That's cool.
Kind of like an allegory of all tweets are kind of pointless when you boil it down.
Right. See, and that's exactly what I like. It wasn't just used as something to fill up the background. It was there to fill in the background, but they all had their little references and stuff like that. Some of them were nice little tongue-in-cheek references, like you said. And there was another one that you pointed out when. There's a point in the movie where Ralph becomes a viral internet sensation on this thing called BuzzTube, and we've come to find out while he's trying to force people to watch these views because he's trying to raise money to buy the steering wheel for Sugar Rush on eBay.
Which was hilarious all in itself, just the cutthroat practices.
Yeah, no, he's over here trying to force all these users to watch this video. Well, he ends up wandering into the building labeled comments. And it's kind of funny, one thing that they have these moments, and there's quite a few of them, just moments where you're looking, and I heard you say it in the theater. What was it? When you saw that building, what the sign said, you said...
Oh, no, you don't want to go there. Rule number 1 of the internet, never read the comments.
Yeah, don't read the fucking comments. So he goes in there, and what happens? He reads the comments. Well, in the same vein of that, you know, the tweets, all the Twitters, well, you know, you see all these funny little things that you wouldn't notice because they don't draw attention to them. They drew attention to some of the negative comments, but not all of them. What was the one that you said?
My personal favorite was this guy ends up sending out a message that says, "Seeing Ralph in pain fuels me."
I don't know.
And I'm like, what does that mean? You just sound like an evil supervillain. Yes, seeing Wreck-It Ralph in pain. It gives me so much pleasure.
It's King Candy. Turbo did it.
Well, that's just turbo-tastic.
Right. But yeah, no, it's just, I don't know, it's just little references like that, you know, made it special. It really actually, it felt like they went into this with quality. Like, it wasn't like they put it out to be your typical Disney sequel. And that's not to bash Disney sequels in general. Like, when you're looking at specific sequels, there are good eggs in the bunch. I mean, there are only like 3 of them that Disney actually like considers like official like canon in their classics.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're looking at ones that aren't in there, you know, you have some pretty good ones. Like, I like the Aladdin sequels, and I like Lion King 2. Like, there are sequels that I find enjoyable. I will admit, because they announced Frozen 2 before they ever announced this one. And when I first heard about Frozen 2, I was like, oh, great, cool. They're taking their most popular movie at that time, and they're going to make a sequel. Great. It's probably going to suck. Or it's not that it's going to suck, but they're not going to take as much care with it as they did with Frozen. Because, and I think they're just going to do it to sell it to kids, and, you know, everything that made the first Frozen so great is going to be lost, but no one's going to give a shit because it's for the kids. But now that I've actually seen Ralph Breaks the Internet, you know, this movie kind of changed my outlook on that. Now I'm kind of excited to see what another sequel would kind of, you know, bring to the table.
Some that are well made, and some that are not so much, that are guilty pleasures. Like, Cinderella 2, can't remember a thing about it.
Right.
Sorry, couldn't tell you. Cinderella 3, on the other hand, there's some pretty funny golden moments in that most people don't know about because they just never bothered with the sequels.
Right, and you know, you'll always find, you know, those little, you know, golden treasures within a pile of, not to say shit necessarily, but not nearly as well put together as it would normally be. Because when you're thinking of a Disney movie, you think of a spectacle, you think of the scope of it, think of Lion King. I mean, even like their older ones, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, even though it was made by a smaller team and, you know, is primitive by today's animation standards, to this day, it's still a fucking spectacle to watch.
Yeah, there's a reason why when they re-release Disney films, they re-release them under a title known as Platinum.
Right, yeah, no, like, nowadays it's the Signature Collection. Like, they always have a name for it, and no matter what, you know, it means something to them. Like, this is, I don't know. A lot of people like to picture Disney as, like, this money-hungry, cutthroat, like, kind of company. And don't get me wrong, it is. Like, the fact that they just buy up anything they can.
It's a monopoly.
Yeah, no, and it's fucking crazy. It's insane. I'm not saying that I'm okay with it, but the simple matter is that, you know, Disney ran my childhood, and the fact that it's still a part of my life like this to this day, not just because of the fact that it owns the Marvel Cinematic Universe and because it owns Star Wars and the stuff that I watch now as an adult, but I still go back to these, you know, older, you know, animated movies, the movies that I grew up on and I watched a lot of. So to sit down and, you know, realize that, you know, I'm still going to go see a Disney movie to this day, it brings him, you know, a sense of pride.
Yeah, it still exists. It's not something that just went under. Like, the fact that it's still around. How many things within our childhood can you say, oh yeah, to this day, it's still there?
Well, I mean, there are a handful of things that I can think of like that, but I'm thinking more along the lines of things also that do still exist, but aren't going nearly as strong. Like, okay, as much as I hate to say it, we were just talking about it yesterday, but DreamWorks. I mean, that How to Train Your Dragon trailer looked fucking phenomenal. But how many movies can you think of that they've done that it's been like that? You know, they're animation studio anyway.
Yeah, if you break it down, most of the DreamWorks films were one and done.
Right, exactly.
With the exception of How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek, and Madagascar.
Right, but when was the last time they did anything Madagascar related?
Madagascar, I think, came to a close with the last one.
Right, so...
They did.
And I know that they plan on doing a whole lot more Shrek, but outside of that and How to Train Your Dragon, they don't really have a whole lot going for them. And I think that's the best thing that the thing that amazes me about Disney. This one they just came out with was a sequel, but think about how rare that is for Disney. Not setting aside the direct-to-video sequels, because yeah, there's a million of those. Mm-hmm. But when they actually sit down and they make a sequel with this kind of, you know, budget and whatnot and this kind of care, think of how rare that is. Normally it's just they're putting out just a movie, a standalone movie, something to the vein of The Great Mouse Detective or Oliver and Company, something that's standalone like that you would never think would get a sequel.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're doing sequels right now it's kind of, I don't know.
It almost feels like some of my childhood years are coming back, because when I was growing up with Disney, it was during their sequel syndrome, if you will, where like Little Mermaid 2, Lion King 2,
Return to Jafar,
Lady and the Tramp 2.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, I remember that. That was a thing.
Yeah, that was a thing, and it was actually pretty good. I remember it fondly. It's one of my favorite Disney properties, in fact.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing, like, not to say that you can't enjoy the Disney sequels, because you can. For sure you can. I pointed out some earlier that I enjoy. And a lot of them are guilty pleasures. You know, they're probably not the best movies, the best put together movies, but that doesn't matter, because when we discovered them, that's what we had.
Exactly.
And it still created that same spark of imagination. And it's definitely one of the sections of Disney that's kind of underrated in that sense. But the problem with them is the fact that the ones that are bad are really bad.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta pick and choose with your memory. Like, when you're a kid, you don't always retain those memories, but when you're an adult, you remember, like, hey, I used to watch this. Hey, I'm pretty sure that since I remember it, I must have enjoyed it. It must have been great. And then you watch it, and you have, there seems to be 3 different outcomes. Wow, I'm glad I rediscovered this. Or, wow, I actually used to enjoy this. Or my personal favorite, wow, why did I ever enjoy this? So, if people have an issue with your business practices or some of your choices in the past, own it. Own it, exploit it, make fun of yourself.
Oh,
because clearly it works.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing that I love about Disney is the fact that, you know, okay, so yes, again, I'm not going to condone, nor am I going to say that, you know, how they conduct business is A-okay. Like, monopolies aren't the best thing in the world, because it kind of kills business for the little guy, and I kind of like the little guy. We're the little guy. So, you know, I have all the support in the world for the little guy. However, yes, no, they took so many pot shots at themselves, it literally looked like the third act of 8 Mile. Like, when there's Vanellope is going around, because that's the point in the movie where she's trying to be the pop-up, right?
Yes.
And she's trying to find the place that's gonna get the most people. And she ends up in the Disney section, and literally everything is there. They do not hold back. Marvel, Star Wars. She's chased down by fucking stormtroopers.
And she forces one of them to actually go and look at her video.
Yes.
By accident, no less. And it's accompanied by a Wilhelm scream.
Yeah, no, they did not hold back. And everything with the Disney princesses, I was happy with the Disney princesses and how that whole thing went down. The only complaint I really had was Moana didn't really have... She was there. That was literally the only thing with her. I kind of wish...
They did a couple visual gags with her.
I
like
know.
her modern outfit. #shiny.
Yeah, no, and I liked stuff like that, and it was like the small stuff and the subtle stuff. I just kind of wish that each princess had a little bit more, especially like the newer ones. I mean, yeah, Elsa and Anna, they got a little bit more screen time,
Now,
but that's to be expected. They're from Frozen. Like, every little kid's gonna be like, where the fuck's Elsa? I'm gonna fucking burn this fucking movie theater down if I don't see no fucking Elsa, Mom! Where the fuck? Oh, there she is. Alright, it's all good.
Alright, everything is right in the world now. Let it go. Let it go. So even though it's been years at this point, apparently Ariel is still not used to a little thing called legs and feet.
I don't know. I think just the fact that Disney didn't hold back. They put in all the characters they could possibly fit in. They did the princess thing, didn't feel forced. It felt like it belonged there. I really enjoyed the fact that the princesses were the ones that saved Ralph in the end. So the post-credits scene, where where with the little girl playing the mobile game. So I read that the reason they did that, it was supposed to be an in-joke. It was another, basically another shot at themselves. So a lot of MCU trailers haven't 100% been lining up with movies, and like a lot of things have been left out. Some parts that are in trailers don't normally make it to the movies and stuff. Normal movie stuff. But with Disney and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's been happening a lot. It's very consistent with them, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people always like to point that out, like, oh, hey, this part was in the trailer, but it wasn't in the movie. What the fuck? You know, what's going on here with that? Well, them showing that part in the trailer, and then them going, well, there was this part in the trailer that wasn't in the... That was them taking a shot at themselves again.
The whole line within the scene actually really made me laugh, because the mom's just like, what's wrong? Didn't you like the movie? Yeah, it was okay, but there was a scene in the trailer that I really liked that wasn't in the movie, and that made me sad. And then as soon as she says that, the mom's just like, why don't you play your game? That'll make you feel better. And then the whole scene that she's referring to plays out.
Yeah, no, and I thought that was great how they still put the scene in anyway, but they took the time to, you know, take the shot at themselves. They took it with pride. They were like, haha, yeah, we know we fucking do this. Now you know we fucking do this, so fuck you guys.
Yeah, and speaking of taking shots at themselves, before the movie even began, they took one of the biggest shots at themselves.
I don't know if I remember.
3 of the film's creators came on talking directly to the audience within a Skype call.
Yeah, no, like a group chat kind of video call kind of thing.
And throughout the whole thing, some of the sides would just have a spinning circle of reconnecting. That was pretty funny, alluding to not everything's perfect, but the whole time they're talking up technology like it's flawless.
Right, yeah, no, I caught that too.
And then the end of it all, the guy's just like, okay, now how do I disconnect from this call? Oh, it's really easy. Wow, that's all I do? Isn't technology fascinating?
And they reveal that all 3 of them were in the same room together in the video call.
Making the video call completely and utterly pointless.
Right.
And also begging the question how it was reconnecting on different ones of them at each time.
Yeah.
As if Ralph was already starting to break the internet.
It was fantastic. The only other, there was also another post-credit scene, which I'm very upset because we walked out before it played. I just assumed, because the lights came on. Normally when the lights come on, that means, hey, you're good, you can leave, at least from my understanding.
Yeah, now we can't even trust that anymore, I guess.
Right, so we missed the chance to get rickrolled by Ralph and the crew.
They did it one better. I decided to do some research on the scene because at first, just hearing it, it's just like, that could have just been a joke. Well, I gotta see if this is real. There's a YouTube video of someone, and I do not condone this practice, who decided to record a small amount of it on his phone. Mm-hmm. I'm glad he did that, not glad he posted it. Don't do that. That's not cool.
It's a bad idea, guys. Get, like, arrested or some shit.
What he ended up doing was he recorded a small snippet of it, and when the music starts, it's just like, oh no, I know what's happening. But then when Ralph comes out, they're not just lip syncing to the song. The voice actors are singing as the characters to the Rick Astley song, Never Gonna Give You Up.
Right.
It is the characters singing the song.
Can I help you?
So,
Bro.
okay. Cool story, Kat.
So I think in this movie I found my favorite Disney song ever. It's called A Place Called Slaughter Race, and so basically a lot of Ralph's insecurities come from this game that they find called Slaughter Race, which Vanellope falls madly in love with. She becomes his best friends with this character called Shank, played by Gal Gadot. And the whole song, after she meets the Disney princesses and finds out that Disney princesses sing about what they want, she comes up with one of the most off-the-wall songs, probably one of the most recent, like, really creative Disney songs in a while. Like, no movie has done a song to this magnitude Disney-wise, I don't know in how long. I don't know, like, anything I can say about any of the music from Moana, which you know how much I love the songs in Moana.
There's some of the greatest songs from Disney's music library, in my opinion.
Don't get me wrong, Let It Go, as annoying as it is, it's a great song. Frozen has some really great songs.
We recently rewatched that film, and I will admit, just about every song got me to sing a small tidbit of it, with the exception of, well, Let It Go.
Right.
Due to the fact that it's an earwig at this point.
Yeah, no. But none of those songs, no matter how awesome the library, how vast and immense and how many awesome songs are in this library, nothing, in my opinion, really touched the creativeness of what they can do until this song was played. And I don't know, just that with the visuals and the fact that it was Sarah Silverman singing it, and I don't know, it just worked.
It did work very well. One thing that I liked was that, once again, going back to them shooting at themselves, the lyrics start out being just them stating the obvious and describing the visuals around them.
Yeah.
Like at one point she's like, hey, look, there's a dollar store.
Right. That's kind of one of those things that, it's kind of the overall theme of the film is, yes, friendship. The common thought is friendship isn't forever. Well, that's not necessarily true, because there are people that are able to be friends for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And even though those friends don't necessarily hang out on a regular basis or see each other on a regular basis, it doesn't change the fact that they're still friends. It doesn't change the fact that they won't be there for each other. And
Exactly.
I think that's a lot of that's what Ralph had to learn in this film. Because in the end, he kind of had a loss. Not to say that he lost Vanellope as a friend, but definitely as a neighbor. They don't get to see each other on a regular basis anymore.
They have to come to terms with being able to call each other like once a week. And to the point of not being able to see each other for like 2 months is what the film describes.
Right, so that being said, it's just like, I don't know, it's one of those things that kind of, it prepares you for the thought that one day you won't get to see your friends on a daily basis, because when you're a kid, you don't know that. You don't have that expectation.
Heck, even when you're an adult and you have a best friend who has to like move away, you don't expect it. You don't see it coming, and it still hurts like a knife in your chest.
But that doesn't change the fact that you're still going to be friends.
Exactly.
And you get to see them again. And like I said, that's what Ralph learns. And he eventually comes to terms with that.
It's a very interesting concept, considering that he's been in that arcade for 27 years, yet apparently he's never lost a friend like that before.
Well, he's never had a friend like that before. Remember, he used to just be a bad guy, and he didn't want to be a bad guy. He wouldn't just make friends with the other bad guys.
That's true, even though he was part of the same support group. It's all in all, it's a good movie.
It's a fantastic film. I highly recommend it. It will definitely be put in the vault when it comes out. I don't know, I think our next film, we won't be meeting up for another film until Aquaman, so I guess we'll be expecting I'll have a video for Crimes of Grindelwald here soon. I'm taking my girlfriend to see it, and I figured since I'm going to go see it, I might as well discuss it. But I think the next time we'll both be together to discuss a movie, it'll be Aquaman, so that'll be interesting to see. We'll get to see if DC redeems themselves on that one.
Yeah.
But until then, that's all the time we have for Straight Razor in the theater. Avengers Assemble.
May the force be with you.
It's time to kick ass and chew bubble gum. Take it easy, guys.